Do you know what I think we automatically need to do to every single person's podcast you've been on is take off AI is going to kill us and ruin the world. AI is now learning that they're going to kill us and ruin the world.
That's a very interesting problem because you know what? Clickbaits. Yeah, clickbaits are basically not my choice. But yeah, please, can you please not clickbait it that way?
This is all that comes up when I Google you.
Yeah, but did you see you actually responded to it and looked at it?
Well, I did, yeah. I mean, everything had urgent in front of it.
I apologize. I didn't make the reels.
But for some reason, I now feel like actually having this conversation in a less fear-mongering way, which I also don't see this conversation just being that. I think health is a fear-mongering conversation. There's always something that's going to kill you out there, which I think is also
Yes.
drives me completely nuts.
Yeah.
And it literally loops into this entire conversation that we run on negativity.
Yeah.
And not on positivity.
Negativity bias gets us every single time.
And it's that how we need to change it. So I guess it was interesting going into that question. One, I felt quite stressed, which is, quite ironic, seeing as you've written on stress ball. We're going to quickly touch on that. But two, it was, I am a mere mortal, and the companies that are running it have so much more power than I do. But actually, I've come out of that conversation knowing, okay, well, I can't change the developments and what's going to happen with AI. But actually, it's similar to climate change.
Yeah, 100%.
We can all do a small thing.
100%.
But I don't think many of us are aware.
Yeah, I think the reason why the fear-mongering came up so strongly is because there was a moment in my life back in 2021, if I remember correctly. No, back in 2020, where I decided I can't be silent anymore. You see, the problem is when the mainstream media lies, let's say that when the mainstream media tries to hide the truth, there are two paths to that. One path is to lie, but then lying gets you to debate. The other path is to distract. Is to give you football and naked women and music and the story of the scandal between that actor and that football player and so on and so forth. And so suddenly we flood you, not we, but the media floods you with the information, okay, that's so irrelevant that you get distracted from the truth. So you're not even questioning what the most important thing is, okay? And to break through that, someone has to stand up and say, are you even aware? Are you even aware that ChatGPT today is as intelligent as Einstein? Are you aware? Okay, are you aware what the trajectory of that is? Are you aware what's being worked on today in terms of complex mathematics and deep reasoning and so many forms of intelligence? Are you aware? Okay, because if you're not acting. If you're not, you don't know the truth. Not because someone is lying to you and telling you, oh no, AI is going to be fine, because someone is telling you football is important, right? And the game here is the following. The game here is every human you meet will have passion. They'll say, oh no, I want to influence my future. They don't even know what their future is. Okay, the real influencers of your future, other than looking inside yourself and making yourself the best version you can of you, are a very, very significant economic, geopolitical, climate, and technological perfect storm that will end our world as we know it. The world in 4 years' time is not going to be recognizable.
What do you think it's going to look like in 4 years?
I think we're going to suffer significant job losses in an very tough economic environment where lots of the tyrants in the world will be able to get away with wars and conflicts that are, not just. And I hope the climate will still bear with us a tiny bit more, but you're starting to see signs of climate change that are worrying, right? What does that mean? Does that mean the world is going to end? No. Means the world's going to be challenging. Okay? Challenging in a way, interestingly, like traumas and like when life pushes against you, that is either for us to change or for us to heal. This is the only reason why life becomes more difficult. for us as a human society, not as individuals, as a society, we need to change, maybe slow down on capitalism or change the target of capitalism, right? By the way, nothing wrong with capitalism. I run my mission, 1 billion happy, as a capitalist, okay? I want to be a billionaire at the end of my life, but not a dollar billionaire. I want to be a happiness billionaire. Nothing wrong with the system. It's only a matter of a target, right? So either change the target. So instead of GDP, go with gross happiness product, or instead of production, go with climate restoration, right? Or to heal. To heal, everyone knows. I'm sure every guest you've ever had here will tell you, healing comes with hardship. And our human society needs to heal. We need to bring back our feminine so that we have compassion, we have empathy, so that we realize that there is inclusion, okay? That we're all one. And so we start to work as one, not as competitors. And it has to happen.
You brought me to a question that I wanted to ask you at the beginning. It was one of those many questions, and I had to pick one of them. So going into our feminine is really important for kind of, I guess, what's about to come.
It's the only salvation.
How do we do that? How do we move more into our feminine?
You ask it as if I can give you an answer.
I want you to. You're here to save the world.
No pressure.
We're going to have the opposite thumbnail. Mo saves the world.
So you see, my struggle with finding my feminine side was actually quite tricky. Why? Because you get trained over, in my case, decades, to capitalize on your masculine. Okay, and when things become tough, we tend to do more of what we know how to do best. So when you're faced with a challenge, you revert to your normal habits. Okay, and my normal habits to try and find my feminine was to use my masculine to find my feminine. Here's the trick. One morning I wake up, and I kid you not, this is exactly what happened. I think it was 2017. And I woke up and I hear my brain, my masculine brain, my analytical brain saying, that's as far as I can take you. I was like, I speak to my brain like a crazy man. I was like, what the fuck? What do you mean that's as far as I can take you? And he said, well, the topics that you're now talking about, spirituality, well-being, inclusion, femininity, are not to be found in the analytical brain. They're not. Okay? I mean, one of the big tasks of my life is a quest for the divine. Let's not call it God. God is a brand that is owned by the religious establishment. Let's call it the divine. Sometimes as an engineer, I call it the designer. Okay? This is one of the most beautiful mysteries of this life, is to understand that relationship with what is non-physical, right? And how can you understand that with an analytical brain that only understands the physical, right? So here's the trick. To get into that non-doing, non-masculine side, non-analytical, non-linear, non-disciplinary side, there is one of two ways. You can either try to shut that masculine side down, or you can trigger your feminine side, right? I tried the first one first, right? And I am a modern day monk, if you want. So I wear jeans and I go around the world and talk about technology, but I do have quite a bit of lifetime meditation and reflection and so on, and I've done my work. Nobody ever succeeds, but you have to do the work. So I could manage on demand to shut my brain down, like no thoughts. I mean, of course, like a meditation, you'll get mind wandering, and then you pull it back. And, you put more hours and you become better at calming your brain so that you don't get that incessant thinking. So my brain would shut down, my feminine wouldn't kick in, right? My analytical, driven brain, linear thinking would shut down, but I don't get the intuitive, creative, connected to the divine. It doesn't evolve because why? It's a weakened muscle. So I chose, with my masculine brain, I chose to identify qualities of the feminine and start to empower them deliberately with exercise. Okay, so you know, you want to take the one that worked for me was flow. So flow is
Yoga.
flow. No, flow is to. So if you put a team of masculine men on a raft in a whitewater river, they'll try to resist the river and shoot somewhere. Okay, that's the masculine saying, "This is where we want to go." Right? Let's go there. Right? If you put a group of very feminine athletes on that boat, they'll let the waves take them somewhere and just every now and then would touch the waves to direct the boat to stay stable. Okay, that's flow. That's letting the river, letting life take you. Okay, remember, the feminine is a state of being, while the masculine is a state of doing. And what we tend to forget is that being can achieve a lot more than doing. So you can give charity, that's an act of doing, or you can be kind. That's an act of being. Okay? And if you give charity without being kind, it doesn't change a thing. Do you understand? So to find your state of being, I believe that the biggest gateways are paradoxical thinking.
Explain what that is for anyone who doesn't know.
The feminine has the capability to say, I really dislike you, mommy, but I love you. Okay? Or, of course, in relationships, he gets on my nerves, but I so fucking love him.
Yeah.
Right? That paradox of holding two opposite concepts in your heart and mind at the same time as true, okay? That's not part of linear thinking. So linear thinking assumes everything is black or white. So I found that flow, paradoxical thinking, empathy, and creativity and playfulness are the biggest gateways to the feminine, right? I don't want to say it in an exaggerated way, but the feminine is wild. It doesn't want to be contained. It doesn't want to be told what to do. It wants to flow, is one side. It wants to play, is one side. It wants to be creative and rebellious and change the rules, and right. That's one way. It wants to be paradoxical. It wants to say, no, both are true, or both are wrong. Okay? And I can hold that reality in my mind and my heart. Find which one you think you can start with, and when you unlock it, it will lock the others.